All right. Hello. We are live. Hi. Welcome to Juhl Media weekly YouTube podcast. My name is Ching Juhl. Today, my guest is the beautiful, talented Monica Mansy. She is a Houston based actress. And let's have a great chat. All right. Monica!
Hi, Ching. Oh, thank you so much for that warm welcome. I'm so happy to see you.
So great to see you. Yeah, and thank you for, connecting with me and coming to Manhattan. So
Of
tell me a little
course.
bit, you came to Manhattan and you've done some quite a lot of things, including, coming chat with me.
I
So
did.
what
I
did you
did.
do in Manhattan?
Oh my gosh, I did so much. So, a few of my girlfriends and we always do girls' trips. So, one of us couldn't come, but the three of us went there, um, spent a whole weekend together. It was amazing. Went everywhere. We went to a Broadway show, Jessica Chastain's new Broadway show. Um, it was amazing. And then after my girlfriends left, uh, I connected with people in New York. So I reached out to you, and we had a lovely little wine slash coffee in the garden. And I so appreciated meeting you in person. That was so fun. And then I met with my girlfriend Lisa up there. She's part of New York Women in Film. So she set up a whole evening for us. It was
Wow.
fantastic. Yeah, one of her cousins and his girlfriend were in town. We went to dinner together, and then she set up for us to go see with New York Women in Film, Liev Schreiber's new show, A Small Light. We saw the first two episodes, and then there was a talk back with the co-creators, the director, Liev Schreiber, and then the main character um, in that show. And it was just a beautiful evening. So that was fun. And I met with my acting coach in New York. So I had a
That's
great time. I
wonderful.
love New York. I can't wait to come back forever.
Yeah, please come back. Please come back. So,
Yeah.
Monica, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Does anyone in your family who are theater, film related profession? How did you get into this business?
Yeah. Believe it or not, no one in my family is. Uh, I grew up in the arts. So, like, I took ballet and tap and jazz, ballet and tap since I was 3 years old. And then I started playing the viola at 10 years old. So, I've always enjoyed the arts. And then when I went off to college and entered corporate America, that kind of went by the wayside. And then about 7 years ago, I was missing that. And I just on a whim decided to take an acting class, fell in love with it, and I've never looked back since. So when I took that acting class, it was um, the scariest thing I'd ever done for some reason. That red light would turn on in the camera, and I would forget all of my lines. I would forget everything. I couldn't speak. Literally, it was so weird. And then I knew that I had to go back again and I had to try it and I had to conquer that. Um, so I kept going back. I loved it, created a family there. That studio made a lot of films. They produced a lot of films. So I was able to crew a lot. So I got behind the scenes experience there. And then ever since then, I've done some short films and just could not stop going back and being on set. So
So tell us about, like, do you have a sort of a one or two lines about why people, why you like acting? Like, what is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great question. You know, one of the things initially was there was this there was this part of me that wanted to be creative, and I was missing that. And it fulfilled that piece of me. But then there was also another part where it was just something, like I said, it was scary and it was new and exciting. Uh, and it was something like I said, I wanted to conquer. So that was a big thing for me. Now, as the years have gone by, it's changed a bit. So I feel like um, there's a lot of, I don't want to say it's therapy, but in a lot of ways it is very therapeutic to be able to work through certain things through characters. And it's fun to embody characters that are nothing like you. Um, yeah, so I think being able to kind of go places where you wouldn't normally go in your real life is maybe therapeutic. Maybe that's the word, but it feels good.
It's almost like a playhouse, right? When we were young, right? We have all
Yeah.
these uh either block or played baby doll stuff. Or I didn't have a whole lot when I was growing up, but I remember still with very young, something like a 5 year old something, and people
Mhm.
like to play house, like playing different characters. So I think
Yeah.
I haven't really done any editing acting much, but I'm just imagine what acting does is, first of all, you are dealing with words, right? And characters. So there's a lot of literature going on also, right?
Yep.
There's something like you said, it's not really you. You are like out of your body experience, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah, for sure.
expression. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you get to express all these feelings that maybe you didn't know you had or you wouldn't normally have. And there is sort of an outlet, I think, for a lot of emotions. And then um there is a connection with your scene partner, and then there is a connection with the audience. So if you can make your audience feel what you're feeling in that moment, then there is like a human connection, and the same way you're connecting to your scene partner. So there's a lot of emotions that maybe even in your own rehearsal you didn't feel until you got with your scene partner. Same thing happens like in a class, if you're
Mhm.
taking an acting class, that you may not feel until you get in front of the class. So there's a lot of emotions that you get to sort of dip into that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise.
Right. And then I can imagine, only imagine that I'm a violist and violinist or whatever, performing in orchestra chamber music, and each performance is very different, right?
Yeah.
And you never know what's gonna happen. And so there's like elements of surprising, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Hmm.
sure in your acting world even more, because do you ever accidentally or somewhat adding uh, are you allowed to adding any words during the performance, or you have to be so strict?
It depends. Sometimes a director or maybe even a writer, but writers usually aren't on set, but typically they want you word for word. But sometimes it, there is an ad lib, um, and it works. And sometimes the director lets you ad lib. Uh, and so, I mean, I just shot a scene. I guess it was a week or a week and a half ago. And the director, after we got the shots that we needed, the director said, "Okay, I'm going to give y'all leeway to play a little bit." And there was even a line in there that before that I had asked him, "Hey, are you gonna?" It was the line that I thought maybe could be shifted, and he brought it up, and he said, "Hey, you asked about that line. Did you have any other suggestions?" And I told him what I thought, and he said, "Well, let's do that." So he did let me change that line up to what I thought could work, and 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 also in that moment, speaking to what we were just talking about, in that moment, a lot of stuff happened during the recording, during the shooting, that didn't happen during our rehearsal. So a lot of emotions were bubbling up that we didn't have previously, and it was beautiful, and everyone was really happy. So I definitely think that, like you said, surprises, happy accidents happen all the time.
So what are the few different experiences between on stage and also shooting film, acting
Oh my
on?
gosh.
in front of the camera?
Yeah. Um, on stage has been a new experience for me. So, minus the play I was in fourth grade, I've never done a play. And I did my first play back in February. Um, and it was a totally different experience. One of the one of the big takeaways was I could not be loud enough. So every time I would, because in film everything's quiet and it's right here, and
Right.
if you yelled, the sound guy would just probably yeah lose his marbles. But in theater, every time we would work a scene, the
Mhm.
director would be like, "Why are you whispering?" I was like,
Mhm.
"Whispering?
Yeah.
I'm like yelling at the top of my lungs." So, uh, so that was a new experience, and also just being bigger. So on theater, you have to your everything you are has to be bigger. You have to
Mhm.
perform to the back of the theater.
Mhm.
Um, in film, your eyes alone without moving say
Mhm.
something. It
Right.
captures everything. So having to
Much
be
more intimate,
bigger,
right? Yeah.
yeah, it's more intimate. So having to be bigger on stage and louder and bigger and bigger. That was the big sort of challenge for me, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
And then also finding finding being able to find connection when doing that, like making things bigger,
Mm.
is also a challenge for me
It's
because
almost
I find
exaggerating, right?
it's what.
Exaggerating. You have to exaggerate the situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, which
Yeah.
I think, I find a lot of connection in quiet, intimate spaces because I'm used
Mhm.
to that with film.
Right.
Um, and so that was definitely a challenge for sure.
So what is a casting director? Because I know you are a casting director for one of your film. Like I
Yeah.
never really understand what casting director, why do we need a casting director? So tell us a little bit about that.
Um, oh my gosh. I love being a casting director. Okay. So it is something I sort of happened upon recently, but I love it because I love actors. And a casting director essentially finds um finds the best actor that can fit a certain role. So, and that's in layman's terms. So, but there's so many nuances because the actor, you might think the actor should look like this, and you only want this one thing, but are you also open to maybe there is something that you didn't see. And then there are different things like I casted something before that didn't actually go to production, but there was a great actress that came in and she read for the lead role, and the director and the writer were like, she is amazing, but she's too young for the role. So the next day, I talked to them and I said, all right, hear me out. And I thought about her for another role, even though she didn't quite fit what we thought that role was. And I was like, I'm telling you, let her come in and read. And she blew it out of the water, and she got the part. Um, so I think it's being able to see um, things that maybe not everybody sees in certain people, and seeing their potential. Also, that was the one that we cast was like a thriller, and so whenever we would see reels from actors who had mostly comedy, I said, you'd be surprised that comedians or people who do comedy are really good at drama. So I would, bring them in, even though maybe the reel didn't say that they could potentially do that part. So I think it's being able to read between the lines to see if someone could be a good fit for a role.
So casting director almost like an agent, right? Almost like agent is someone finds you the job or reads your contract. So acting director almost like they realize how talented each person is, and then try to fit them to, the production or to the script needs.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard it said before that there's like this problem and we need a solution. We're looking for this actor to be our solution. So, hopefully they come in and we go, oh, that's that role. Um, that's exactly what we're looking for. So, yeah, I definitely think it's looking for that talent. And I think you have to love actors. I mean, I love actors, and just watching them work and watching them, when you give them redirection, I can kind of see the wheels turning and then them, putting it back out there. Uh, so yeah, I think it is a matter um, of being able to find the best fit for sure.
Mhm. Right. So the job of uh acting director also, like, one has to be so experienced to have so many know so many different roles or know people. Like, for instance, a new casting director, how do they train themselves to become one? Like, are there like database you can look at it, or how did that go?
Okay, all right. So you mean to get the actors to come in and submit?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Like, how do you
yeah,
find them?
yeah. So we were putting out casting calls on Actors Access, which is a great, by the way, a great place for actors to find um, casting notices, casting calls, and it's a great way for directors and casting directors to find actors. So you just put out a casting call and you put what the film's about and then a little blurb about what roles are needed to be filled. They submit. If they look the part, then we allow them to submit a tape. And then after they submit a tape, there's usually a callback that we call them back in, or maybe it's a in-person audition, and then there's usually a callback, and then sometimes there's like another sort of callback where you see it's called a chemistry read, where you see like how maybe two actors who would be in a scene together, how they interact to see what the chemistry is with them, with them too, if you might have a couple people in mind. um
Mhm.
so, and there are other databases like Backstage, and that one's a great one too. So and there's, you have local ones as well.
Mhm.
Local, like the Houston Film Commission over here will put out casting calls and you can submit there. So there are plenty of ways to get out casting calls. And then you just hope that you get really good actors to submit.
Yeah, and I think actors or actress, you deal with much more rejections than even compared to musicians, right? We have to audition this and that, this and that. So tell us a little bit how people deal with that. Like, do you ever get discouraged, like when you try to get somewhere, or it's like, how would you advise younger people who want to become an actress and they go audition? Probably, what the percentage is? What I mean, maybe 1% they get picked. So tell us a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's I guess taking in a lot of the stuff that I've heard, successful actors say, and just kind of putting it all together. There's a lot of ways I think that to deal with rejection. One, to know that it's not personal. A lot of times it's you just don't fit that specific role that they're looking for. It's not a testament to your acting.
Mhm.
Um, Another thing is um, to look at it as an opportunity to work your craft. So if you have an audience of one or two, and that's the director, the casting director, and or director, and that's your audience, you get to go in and work your craft. You get to perform essentially for them. So think of it as going in and being able to act for for an audience, and then leaving it there, and not thinking, um, I'm here to get this job, but rather I'm here and I get to perform. I get to be in my craft today,
Mm.
and looking at it in that way rather than being
Lose,
rejected.
win or lose, right? Don't think about
Yeah,
win or lose. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you have to go in and do it and forget about it.
Mm,
And and it is true. There are a few auditions that you go in and you feel like, oh, I really, really want this, you know? And but I try as much as possible to not have that feeling and just go, you know what, I really, really just want to go in and
mm,
perform and I get
mm.
to act today and leave it at the door.
What is a typical process right now? Like, say there's an opening, you walk in. From what I see in the movies, because I've never done an acting audition, you bring your, pictures, and so in these and the resume. So in these days, do people look at your social media? Like, how do these panels decide who on the which? Do they have your picture in front of them, and then decide who they want? Like,
Yeah.
what is your
So
package? Yeah.
yeah, the typical way now, as of recently, and of course it can vary at times, but the typical way now is you see a casting call on one of these sites, or your agent sees a casting call and they submit your headshot and resume. And if you have a reel, that's submitted as well. And then once the casting director sees your headshot, resume, and or reel, and if you look the part, they think that you can possibly come in and audition, they'll ask you to submit a tape. That's typically, now these can be different, it can be different, it varies, but this is the typical way. They'll ask you to submit a tape, with the audition. You submit a tape, and the casting director, if they really like you, then they'll pass you on to the director. The director usually chooses the top however many he or she wants to see, and then they'll call you in for, um, the callback, whether it be in person. Sometimes that's in person. Sometimes it's also, a video, a live video, and then usually from there, that's where they'll cast, unless they're going on to a chemistry read, uh, and they might, there might be an additional, time that you go in,
Do they
and that's the
tell? Do they
typical.
tell you? Do some of them? Of course, they're different. Like, do they tell you right away, or you have to wait for weeks to get answers?
You have to wait. Sometimes, I mean, it might be, it depends. It might be a week, it might be a couple weeks, it might be longer. And sometimes actors don't like, if you don't get it, you're usually never going to hear back. So you just have to know that you didn't get it if you never hear back. But typically, when it's going into production, or like if they say the callbacks are on this date, then if you haven't heard by then you didn't get it. But yeah, there's a waiting period.
Yeah. So, for hold on one second. For orchestra audition, right? It's slightly different. Like when you want to get an orchestra job, you go in there. First of all, first round is you sometimes is like you submit a tape. They want to see if you're good enough. And before that, they even like they want your application with like a two recommendation letters from like a reputable teachers. And then if you pass doing live audition, right? And you go in there and you play the first round, and they have a screen on the stage, so the judges cannot see the person play, because they want to be fair. They only want to hear
Yeah.
the sound of the person.
Yeah.
So the personal manager leads the person go on there, and sometimes they even require do not wear high heels, because if you go with high heels, and
Yep.
then the judge will know this is a female, right? So they want you to wear shoes
Ah.
doesn't now make noise. So you play the first round, maybe you play five excerpts and the most difficult ones, and then you wait in the room until everybody finish, and then you wait to see if you get in the second round. So the second round usually probably they pick maybe I don't know 10 or 5 to 10, and then the second round play again. Some orchestras still behind the screen, some orchestra open the screen, so it depends. Yeah. Then you
Wow.
play, and then out of 10 people, maybe they play like they choose like 3 or 4, I don't know. And then the last round, and of course it's open screen. But there's a but. For Metropolitan Opera Orchestra, they have screens all the way. They wouldn't
Wow.
even know at the final who got the job.
That's
Isn't it wild?
amazing.
It's wild.
That's so different.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
different.
yeah, I know. Because
That's
they
so
play music.
interesting.
Yeah. So it's very usually probably 100 to 200 people apply for one job, you know. So that's
Wow.
that's also, you know, how I went to with my I did a lot of auditions when I was playing. My son got into Pittsburgh, so that's his.
Yep.
So I waited in the hotel room waiting for him, waiting for him. Anyway,
Yeah.
so talk about
I love
viola.
knowing that difference. Mhm.
Yeah, talk about viola. So tell us a little bit. What made you choose to play the viola when you were 10 years old?
I know. It's so funny. It feels random to think about. But when I was in fifth grade, the my orchestra director and some other I guess some other teachers brought a program to my elementary school um, that wasn't there before. It was called Swinging Strings, and it was a program where fifth graders can start early before getting into junior high, so they could have sort of a pool that they could get more orchestra kids, um, once they go into sixth grade. So he came, my orchestra director came and showed us all the the
What's his
stringed
name?
instruments. Mr.
What's his name?
Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Hello.
um, so Mr. Williams came and showed us all the stringed instruments. And my best friend at the time, she, I think, was the one who said viola somehow picked that. And I said, okay, I'll play the viola too. Um, I mean, I wanted to play an instrument, but I think maybe that was like my push. I was like, okay, we'll play the viola together.
Did
She
you
ended up,
know,
mhm,
Monica, did you
yeah.
know what is a viola then? Or you just know the name? Did you know? Like, what
They
is a
showed,
viola? Oh.
yeah, they showed us all the instruments, if I recall. It was a long time ago, but they showed us all the instruments, and for us to choose from. And so, and also Mr. Williams is a violist. Now he can also play the violin, but he is a violist. So, um, yeah, and I said, okay, I'll play the viola. I always wanted to play an instrument. Even before then, I remember my music teacher in elementary played the piano, and I was like, am I going to play the piano? Like I was kind of thinking, like I always wanted to kind of play an instrument. So I took on the viola, and that friend stopped playing, but I continued playing, and I fell in love with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, since well, you were 10 years old. That's still very young. Did you have to did your parents have to make you practicing, or you were pretty good at that?
I was pretty good at that. My parents never made me practice, but I think it was the kind of student I was anyway. They didn't make me study either, but um, I practiced every single day um, through high school, and I loved it. Nobody had to make me play it. I really enjoyed playing the viola, so that was easy,
That's
and it
wonderful.
paid off.
Yeah. Yeah, one of these days we should. And you auditioned for, you were about to go to school as a musician, right? And then you did not tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't, I wasn't sure what I was gonna major in, but I did audition to receive a scholarship, and I was offered a scholarship from a university to play my instrument. I ended up going to a different university that offered an academic scholarship. Um, I mean, I think I would have continued playing. I don't know if I would have been like how far that would have gone,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
uh, but I ended up going to a different university, and to be honest, it went by the wayside playing my viola,
What did you
unfortunately.
study? Do you want to talk about
What's that?
what was your discipline in your college or university? What
Oh,
did you
marketing.
study?
I did marketing.
Oh, that's
Yep.
awesome.
I went the
So
business route.
so oh, that's great. So now there's a joke, okay? Try not to feel insulted when
Viola
people
joke.
say when people say, "What do you do for a living?" And then this person say, "I'm an actress." And then the next phrase say, "Which restaurant?"
Oh,
Do
right.
you get
Yeah. Okay. The great thing is there are right. There's so many jokes about being an actress, and then as you know, There are so many Viola jokes. I can't think of any right now, but
Oh, no, 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 no. I'll tell you what. I tell you what.
I'll
I
probably
always
think of
remember
one.
that. What's the difference between a viola and a trampoline?
Viola and a trampoline. People love jumping on a viola. I don't know. What?
No, you take off your shoes when you jump
You
on
take
a
off.
trampoline.
See? Wait,
That's a
there's
vicious
so many
one.
Viola jokes.
That's a vicious one.
That is a
What
vicious one.
What's the difference between a violist and uh a coffin?
And a what? Oh, an orphan?
What's the difference between a violist and a coffin?
Oh, a coffin. I don't know.
Oh my sorry. Uh, sorry. See, we both are violists, so we can talk about viola jokes.
That's fine.
Uh, the the difference is the dead person is inside.
Okay. That's funny. We have to have a great sense of humor for as many Viola jokes as I've heard in my day.
Yeah,
We have a
yeah.
great sense of humor. We can take
So
a joke.
yeah, yeah. So give us a spiel. Do you know why viola gets so much joke? Like why? Do you know why?
Why?
Hmm. Like why there's so many viola jokes?
You know what? I
Hmm.
would say we're underestimated, but I think we're underestimated, but also I think it's a joke on being underestimated. Like I think true musicians know that how important a viola is. But I think it's a joke on the fact that most people don't realize that viola is as important as it is.
Mm,
Maybe.
very good.
That's my
Very good.
assessment.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, that's a very positive one.
Yeah.
I have my spiel is well, first of all, historically, there's not a whole lot of great composers wrote for viola solo, right?
Yeah.
And so because
That's true.
always violin, piano,
Yep.
cello, so viola level is relatively low. And also, let's face it, viola is a middle instrument. It sort of links the violin and cello, or it's a bridge. So it's not
Yes.
like a showy solo
Yep.
stick instrument. So that way we don't have a good repertoire or enough repertoire. Then the level is lower. And then
That's true.
but I think the 20th century really changed the picture. 20th century,
Yeah.
there's so many wonderful violists,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of more works written, but from 20th century, So
Mm,
yeah, so just the historically violas is also like stepchild of the family,
I
although that
agree.
although that stepchild thing is also a what do you call what's the word like old thing, because a lot of
Yeah.
stepchildren now is being treated so well, right? Not only
Exactly.
step, like adopted children are
Yep.
being treated so well, so it's
Yeah.
all like
So
old thing.
times have
Yeah,
changed all around.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, interesting. So I can't wait to hear you play. Maybe we can jam,
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Yeah. I would love that.
another session. So now we're speaking of a business, and actors, often are being joked around which restaurant they work. Now you taking on a journey of supporting yourselves, not just rely on having a good role or being making films and theater, and you are a realtor. Tell us a little bit about that.
I am. Yes. I prior to being a realtor, I was an escrow officer. So I was at a title company, which is the final step in buying a home or a piece of property. You go to a title company and you sign all those papers. That was me. So I did that for a very, very, very long time. Um, and then I switched over to real estate, and now I'm a realtor. And when I was in title, I loved it and it served me. And then now that I switched over to real estate, I love it. And um, I still get to work with people and I get to be out in the field, and it's a lot more flexible. So it gives me the opportunity to work on other projects, whether it be acting or my viola or whatever the case may be. So it gives me a lot more flexibility, and I really do actually love this end of it, this side of it, for sure.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I've never been a realtor before, but being a realtor, like you must be very good with people, right? Communication. You need to make your customer feel good, right? And
Yeah.
you're so good at that, and you're very sincere. You're not just like some people are like being nice to people just looks a little bit sort of fake. You're
Yeah.
very sincere. And what else? The skill of marketing you study can use, right? And it
Yeah.
involves marketing, sell,
Yeah.
selling.
Yeah. I think the most important thing, like you said, is your clients. Being able to serve your clients and love serving them. And I think the great thing about real estate is you really get to choose who you work with, because you get to choose your clients. And so, I mean, it's really easy to show friends or acquaintances or friends of friends homes, and then walk them through the process and know that they feel comfortable with most likely the largest purchase they'll ever make in their life. And I get to walk them through it, and I get to make sure they feel comfortable. And if they're worried or concerned or upset or whatever the case is, the fact that they can reach out to me and they know, because I'm a friend or I am a friend of a friend, that they really trust me. And I don't take that lightly. So yeah, I love that. That's the most important part of my job. And honestly, my favorite part of my job is just that I'm helping the people that I love, and that's called a job, which is amazing.
Yeah, and also you deal with numbers, negotiation, right? And it's like a
Hmm.
lot of business side of things that you do not do that when you're in arts. Like
Yeah.
I am not very good with money or with numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very different kind of business than art, for sure.
Uh-huh. Right,
Working
right,
the
right.
total other side of my brain.
So how is the business right now? What is the market now? Is it COVID really screw everybody up?
Um, Market's slowing down a bit. It's not,
Uh,
believe it or not, in 2020 and 2021, it was really hot. Um, but the market slowed down
really?
a bit. But
Oh,
yeah,
it was
but
hot? Why is
it
that?
was. Everybody was moving. And then you had people from California and New York coming in, and they were buying all this real estate in Texas. And that's still happening.
Oh my
Yeah, it's
god.
because I'm in Texas, the rate, the properties are so much lower um,
Yeah.
than in New York or California. So
Right, right.
I'll have clients that come from California. They'll sell their house in California, and they can buy two homes here. you know.
Mm, mm.
So um, yeah. So but the market's still good. People are still going to buy and sell homes, and then as the summer comes, it picks up. It always picks up in the summer. So we're about to hit a peak anyway. So it ebbs and flows like any market.
Yeah, that's great. So do you see yourself I know you like New York. Is it gonna be difficult for you to move to New York to
No, no, no. It will be
Yeah.
so easy. I cannot wait.
So do you have a specific plan? Like you want to be here in 2 years, 3 years, or tomorrow?
Right. I actually have a flight in a few hours, so I'll see you for lunch tomorrow. Um, prior to the pandemic, I actually had a plan to go to New York for a few months to study there, to study acting. And then the world shut down literally the month that I was like thinking of going. So it got put on hold. And now that everything's, I know it's still around, but everything's relatively opening back up. I'm reconsidering it. And another girlfriend and I have been talking about possibly taking classes, and we mentioned three cities, and I said, I'm only going to choose New York. Um, so, so the goal is to first be able to find a way to maybe go out there for a few months, hopefully soon, and take some classes and get acclimated to the city and learn a little bit more about where I could stay and etc. Sort of find a community there, and then hopefully move out there. But I don't have a plan of when, but if we say
Soon.
a year or two, for sure,
Mm.
hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, tell people, some people, they say when they come to New York or Manhattan, they just couldn't handle so many people, or so busy, so dirty, and this and that. So what do you like about New York City other than arts, film and stuff? What do you like about it?
I love New York. I'm a city girl. I love the people. I'm fine with people are like, "Well, you're going to go and you're going to live in this tiny little apartment." And I'm like, "No one sits in their apartment in New York. You're always out." That's the whole point of New York. You're always out. Um I love the people. I love the energy. Um it's weird. People say New Yorkers are rude and I don't see that at all. Like I
Energy. I like that.
the energy.
Energy.
The
Yeah.
energy in New York,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you feel it. You feel it all around you. There is something different about that city. And um I every time I've gone, I've met great people. I've had wonderful experiences. I've felt it does really feel like home in this weird sort of way, because I hadn't ever gone there before. I think 2017 was the first time I went, and then over the next 2 years, I went every couple months because I just couldn't get enough. Whether it be for work um, or pleasure, and I went there, and I every time I went, I felt like I was going home, which is strange,
Yeah. No,
considering it wasn't a
you
city I grew up in at all.
no, you really belong here. I don't think everyone likes New York City, right? And it takes
Yeah,
certain personality to like it. Some people just was born here, so they custom to here. But some people from outside New York, they really clicked. So I can really relate to that because I remember when I first came to United States, which is 100 years ago. So I knew, I went to Indiana to study music, right? And I knew this Baroque orchestra. We have seven orchestras in one university. Yeah, like two, three big orchestra, then Baroque orchestra, contemporary music, new music, whatever, So I know the Baroque orchestra is going to New York next year. So I joined the Baroque orchestra. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so I played the Baroque instrument for a year, and then ended up in New York, performing in Merkin Concert Hall. At the time, I did not know what was that, but it's so very interesting. Merkin Concert Hall is inside uh, Kaufman Center. Kaufman Center is a Jewish slash what do you call, music school, has a
yeah.
hall called Merkin Concert Hall, where my son eventually went to school in that location, exactly
Oh,
location.
wow.
So yeah, so I came, that was a long time ago, and I really liked it. I was like, wow, I like this place. It's a little bit like Shanghai because I grew up in Shanghai, but it
Yeah.
took me a long time to really move there. So 1997,
Hmm.
1997, I came in the summertime, and I was looking for a place. I rented a tiny place in Amherst in Queens, and then I would just try to network during the summer, like a month or half or 2 months. Then I realized I could not make a living in
Mm.
in New York the following year, so I went back. Back means Phoenix. I have a job there. I play with the Phoenix Symphony. So when I went back, right, this time I was really really prepared. I prepared a whole year. I
Wow.
prepare, meaning I will contact the contract, or I contact people I know live in New York, or because I do a lot of music festivals. So by next year May, as soon as Phoenix Symphony had, the season ends early May, then I came to New York. I think I
Um,
flew to New York, and I rented a tiny hole in the wall. It's like the room has no window. I
yeah.
had to open the window with a stick, on the
Oh my
ceiling.
gosh.
Yeah, it was so tiny. It's like the size of a small bathroom, and
Wow.
but I was in heaven. I was so happy. So yeah, and then
I love
after the
that
summer,
story.
yeah, the summer. So I played orchestra here and there, and then I met someone on the phone. Actually, she's a friend's friend. She said, "Looks like these jobs you're playing right now, you're not gonna to make enough money to support yourselves. Okay, you need to go look for a job in teaching, public school needs teacher now.
Hmm.
So I applied
Yep.
for teaching job. So I got two part-time teaching jobs, become a whole job. I mean,
Yeah.
one full time. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
making like two times more money than Phoenix Symphony. I was
Wow.
like, so anyway, yeah, I would
Wow.
go to concert. I would go to three things, theater, concert, or something like every week. I was in
Oh my
heaven. So
gosh.
yeah, that's
That
my story.
I see it's that's the
Yeah,
whole point, right? You're like, I'm living in heaven now. It's like everything that you dreamed of was out there.
yeah. I mean, in
I love
Phoenix,
it.
I'm telling you my story. Sorry, in Phoenix, I had like a three-bedroom house, two
Yeah.
living room, a huge yard. I mean, like, so what? I love the tiny room I had.
I know that's the thing about New York is like it doesn't matter. You don't even care about that when you get to New York. It's like I will live in a little tiny shoebox and live in New York.
Yeah. So I totally feel you talk about the energy. I think it's the energy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
arts also, arts. Yeah,
Yep.
arts
The
and energy
arts.
and people. There's so many
Yep.
different people here, right? You gotta
Yep.
you gotta love people to love
Yes, you
here.
got to love people. And it's so interesting because I feel like everything and everyone is accepted in New York. However you come, oh, I love it. Exactly. I need one of those. Like I feel like whatever you are and whoever you are, it's all accepted in New York. You can completely be yourself, which is
Yeah,
part of, being a creative. And
right,
I
right.
love that. I love that about New York.
What is your background in terms like your ancestors coming from? Are you Italian? What
I'm
is your
Egyptian.
Oh,
I'm Egyptian.
Egyptian. Oh my God,
Yes.
that's so exotic. I met someone yesterday who is
Thank you.
Egyptian. Very
Really? How
beautiful man.
funny.
Beautiful man. Maybe you
Oh,
should.
wow.
Oh,
What
I
a
don't
small
know if
world.
she's married. I'll hook you up.
That's
He's
funny.
so handsome. Oh my
Wow, that's
God.
funny.
Yeah, he looks
How
like
funny.
29 years old. No, I'm sure he's older. But anyway, yeah, Egyptian. Wow.
Yep.
Do you go back there, or do you still have link, or do you speak the language?
Yeah. So I'm first generation American. I was born here, but my parents both were born in Cairo.
Oh,
And I have lots of family still there, and I
oh,
visit a lot. And I love Egypt, and I speak the language, although it's very funny when I speak it. But I can get by, and I speak it just fine. It's just you're gonna know that I'm American.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's
yeah, but
awesome.
but I
That's
love
awesome.
it, and it's as
Yeah.
magical as everybody thinks it is. It really is as beautiful and magical of a country as everyone thinks it is.
Mm,
It lives up to its legend, like its legendary um, sort of idea for sure.
mhm. That's awesome. Yeah, this
Hmm.
is like when I think about Egypt, I think about the pyramid, and
Here.
think about the just the tradition, right?
Hmm.
History and everything. And yeah, now let's switch a gear. Oh, we have 10 minutes left. Uh, I want to do a rapid fire with you in the end.
Oh,
Okay? Do you know
let's do
rapid
it.
fire? Yeah, I
Yeah.
ask short questions. But I wanted to, let's see, did I miss anything about the play? There's a play coming up in January. You're gonna be a part of it, and tell us a little bit about that.
So I don't know much about it yet, but I am in talks with the director. He's told me a little bit. He's a playwright and director. I just spoke with him earlier today, so that's coming up in probably January, but early next year.
Hmm.
And he directed me in a play prior, and he asked that I be in this next play, and I'm very very humbled and honored and excited about that.
Hmm.
So that's coming up early next year.
What is
Um,
Eva and Lucky Show? Lucky Now. You were the
Ava and Lucky
leading role.
Now. So
Ava.
those are two short films that I did. It's been a few years now that I've done each of those, and I played the lead in both of those. Um, those are two prior films, early films for me.
Oh,
Uh,
I have something I can show to our audience.
okay.
Hold on one second. Yeah. I found your IMDb.
Ah,
You don't really need a website. That's your IMDb.
that's my IMDb.
Yeah. Look at
Yep,
that.
that's me.
Yeah. Lucky Now.
Yep. It's an old teaser
Oh,
from my early acting days.
oh.
That was
Is that you?
probably no, no, that's
Oh.
me. That may have been 2016, 2018. First
Ah!
first couple years of my acting, yeah.
So what's the story? Is it like a very dynamic?
Yeah, a woman who lost her child. She's
Oh,
grieving.
oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Look at you.
Thank you. That's early work. It's so funny to see it now.
You don't like it?
No, I like it. It's just it's
Okay.
early, so of course I've grown since then, so it looks very
Yeah,
different to me, but it's fun to see.
yeah,
It's fun
yeah,
to
yeah,
see my
yeah,
early work. I mean,
yeah.
the director on that was is one of my dear friends. She's super um talented. She wrote it as well, and
Yeah.
there was a cinematographer on there. He's super talented. So
Mm,
it was a fun project. It was and I helped produce it as well. So it
mm.
was fun all around. It was a great experience. I loved filming that. I love thinking about that
That's
film.
I want to see more of your work. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
hopefully, hopefully
Yeah.
you can
Well,
show us the play you just did. Did we talk about the
yeah,
play
those
you
are
just
both
did? The play you just
actually
did.
sorry.
Did we talk about the play you just did?
I
Like you
can
just
touch on
finished?
all of those.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just got out from February till now. I did 3 performances. So I did one in February. The Storm is Here. It was about Ashley Babbitt who stormed the White House on January 6th, the insurrection, and I played Ashley
Oh,
Babbitt. Yeah,
oh, that's
um,
awesome. Wow, so
yeah,
you
yeah.
played
It
the
was
bad guy,
pretty.
right? Bad girl.
I was the bad guy. Yeah. So, but the playwright told her story from
Uh-huh.
you know, um, a fictional story from what he thought about may have been her morning, as opposed to what the police officer who shot her, what his morning could have been. So I did that. That was my first play ever, other than, like I said, my fourth grade play.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then I was in a performance as part of an artist's fellowship at the Glasgow, which is part of the Museum of Fine Arts. And I was part of an installation, activating an installation through this performance. And it was a really neat performance where he took um, some talks from the Gulf Coast Protection District, who deals with like flooding and stuff like that in Texas, and then also some conversations that we had as actors that we were kind of put in a room and forced to sort of interact in different kinds of ways, and then built a script on that, and then we performed it, and it was so unique and interesting, and I loved the experience. It was neat to be part of an installation. And then I just got off of a performance with the same director. I mean, this the same playwright as The Storm is Here. Um, Recently, just finished Dream Girl Deferred, and I
Mm.
played some smaller roles, um, and that was a ton of fun. And then now I'm in pre-production for 2 short films. One in which I'm casting director, and one
Hmm.
in which I'm a lead, and that one's called Twofer. So those
That's
are
awesome.
slated to shoot in the fall.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So one more question related to acting. Um, as much as I am a performer, I play music, I need to sometimes memorize things. But when you play chamber music, you read the music. When you play orchestra music, you don't have to memorize, only when you play solo. What's the process of remembering all these lines? What do you
Yeah,
do? I mean, what is your
yeah.
process?
Yeah. So my process, I have a lot of different ways. Um, One of the big ways is to read through it several times, and then sometimes I will record on like a voice memo. I'll record the full script, and then I'll listen to it on my rides to and from anywhere,
Yeah,
um, or on my
great.
walks.
Yeah.
Um, and then and then it depends. Like sometimes you can write it out, and that will help you memorize it. Uh, and then actually doing plays recently, because I've had to memorize so much more. Like when I played the lead in that first play that I did, it helped sort of build that skill that I had to memorize. So it's not
Mm,
easy, but
mm,
if it's in you, where like the character's really in you, the words come,
mm.
easily.
Wow. Wow. Oh, one more question. Do you ever consider writing like a script or
I have written. So over the
oh,
pandemic, when everything shut down and we couldn't get to set or acting class, I actually started writing. So um, I wrote a few things. They weren't amazing, but I think I wrote a few things that were pretty good, decent. And recently, one of my friends and I just wrote a scene together so we can shoot a reel. And we were going to shoot that this week, but as you know, I'm a little under the weather, so probably next week.
mm,
Um, and then uh, and then there's a few short films that I kind of have in the works in the background, to maybe shoot, but but yeah, I write a little bit, but
mm.
acting is definitely my focus.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I wanted to, yeah, thank you for being with me
Thank
today.
you.
It's
Thank
so
you so
nice
much.
to pick your brain.
This has been so much fun. I so appreciate you asking me on, because I'm happy to see you again. It's been a while,
Yeah,
so I'm happy to
yeah.
see your beautiful face.
Thank you. So yeah, I wanted to tell our audience, and yeah, if you like this show, and please subscribe, and click on there and liking the video, and also yeah, I don't know if Monica has a YouTube channel. Do you?
I do not have a YouTube
You should
channel.
have one. You should have
I
one.
should get
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. You can do like you can do shorts now. If you don't have a lot
Yeah,
of videos, you just do
true.
shorts. You talk about acting, talk about this, talk about that in 15 seconds to 30 seconds. You could do that,
Okay,
Yeah, I think
I
you
can
should
do
do
that.
it. Yeah, I think YouTube, everyone should have YouTube. Sorry. Because first of all, it's free, right? It's like a
Yeah,
publicity free. Or you can
that's
have
true.
a channel for realtor.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, everybody should have a YouTube channel. And what else? Come to if you want to use your smartphone to shoot, come to Friday if you can. I
Okay.
host a clubhouse on Friday.
Yep.
It's gonna be oh gosh, 116 weeks nonstop. We've
Wow.
been yeah we've been
That's
I'm very
dedication.
I'm very consistent. Yeah. So
That's amazing.
teaching or discussing elements of a smartphone. Sometimes we go
I've
through.
been in the room before, and it is great information.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fridays, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So please come. Yeah. And one more advertisement is watch my film, My Young Gun Diary. It's on Tubi. It's free. If you want to spend $2 on us, you watch it on Amazon Prime. My Young Gun Diary. So, all right, let's do rapid fire. Okay,
Okay, I'm ready.
ready? Okay. What music genre do you like the most?
Ooh.
Other than
Uh,
Viola music.
pop.
Other than pop, yeah. Who's your favorite singer, pop song singer?
Ooh, Britney or Madonna. But that's hard. Britney or Madonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm an old style. You know who I like? I
Who?
like Karen Carpenter.
Ah, good one. That's a good one.
All right. So, any book you read recently you really like?
Ooh. Uh, no, it's been a while since I've read a book. I'm about to order a book.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Oh,
I
do you
read a
do
play.
do you do
No,
listening? Do you do audio?
oh yeah, I need to do audio. It's been a
Yeah.
while. It's been a while. I'm about to order a book called Audition.
Oh,
I can't remember the last book I read. Man, it's been a
oh,
minute.
that's okay. Yeah, we're too busy, looking at
Yeah.
social
The
media.
last
Yeah.
the last 3 months have been too busy.
Do you want people to know your Instagram?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
at Monica Mansy, MONICAMANSY.
Great. I like it. Um, I come to Houston, and which restaurant you gonna take me for the first one?
Oh, ooh, oh my gosh.
What's your favorite
That's
food? Or what's your favorite restaurant? Or maybe you
um
have too many.
I know. You know what?
Yeah.
There's this place called Thai Cottage, but they just shut down.
Mm,
I love Thai. I love sushi.
mm,
I always go to Miyako's, but there are
yeah.
other sushi places. Uh what is that one called? There's a new sushi place that I just went to that I can't remember the name. I'm gonna say Miyako's just because that's an
Mm,
oldie and goodie. I don't
mm.
know.
Do you eat meat?
I do.
Oh, okay. You look like a vegetarian.
I'm
You're
not
so,
for sure.
so nice figure. Uh, so yeah. If you have a chance to invite one person for dinner, uh, live or dead, who would you like to invite?
My mama. Alive, thank God.
Mm, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. So, do you consider having a family soon?
Um, family as in kids, no. Um, as in partner, yeah, I'm more open to that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. If you win $25 million today, what would you do with it?
Um, my parents are traveling and getting an amazing house. Um, my older brother's getting the best car in the world, whatever he thinks that is, because he loves cars. My little brother, whatever business he wants to open, and I'm moving to New York, and then the rest goes to charity.
Who's Jerry?
Charity,
Oh, charity. Oh,
charity.
oh, oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. All right. It's happy hour now. I'll take you to a craftsman. What should I buy you?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So, what
I
should I
love it.
buy you? What would you order?
Um, for a drink, you mean
Hmm.
alcoholic?
Hmm.
Sidecar.
What's that?
It's Hennessy, Grand Marnier, and lemon.
Oh my
And somebody
god.
told me simple syrup, but I didn't know that. So I guess
Oh,
some people put
oh,
simple syrup in it too.
oh, that's fancy.
I like
Sounds good.
cognac.
Oh, good. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. All right. So, this is so much fun. We're
Yes.
1 minute, 1 hour, three minutes. So yeah. So you take care. And last
Thank you.
word.
You too.
You have a last word.
Oh my gosh. Uh, life is short, so do only things that make you happy.
Awesome. 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 Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna end right now, and until next week. Next week, actually, I don't have anyone yet because this person switched to the week after. She's
Ah.
gonna be a politician. She's running for
Ooh.
city council. Yeah,
Ooh, I love it.
Susan. Yeah, Susan Lee
Ah,
is gonna.
tune
I'm
in,
gonna
everyone.
interview her. May 31st. So, yeah, thank
Cool.
you so much for our audience.
Thank
Join
you.
us. Johnny Wu was here. I don't
Yes.
know if he's still here, and my friend Mark is here. So thank you, Monica,
Thank you
again,
to
and
everyone.
I'll see you
Thank
very
you,
soon.
Ching.
Yeah, thank
Thank you so
you,
much, Ching. Thank you to everybody watching, and I appreciate you, Ching.
thank you, thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Good
you.
seeing you.
Bye, dear. Bye.
Bye.
You can
Bye.
click on the leaving studio. Okay, I'm gonna
Got
end
it.
the broadcast with my friends.